I have no money, so I will use what I already have, plus a few peripherals. Trying to get a decent work device like a PC, laptop, iPad, really any electronics at an affordable price is a pipe dream. A decent PC would cost upwards of 600 euros or something like that. Thanks, AI companies.
You know what my budget was? Double digits. Anything under 100. Ideally under 50.
The good news is, I did manage to get a setup within my budget. I started with using my finger directly on the phone screen, and it works at the cost of wrist pain and hand cramps. I do not recommend working long hours with your fingers if you're gonna use that. Work in short sessions. Don't be like me, I'm an idiot. And then I found these Android compatible graphic drawing tablets, so I got one, a phone desk stand, and a stylus. This whole setup cost me under 35 euros, and I've been using it for almost 2 years now. It's been working great for me, and I've even been able to do paid commission work on my phone thanks to it. Shout out to my clients, by the way. They were super creative people, really awesome to work with, and it's thanks to them that I haven't already starved and died on the side of the street. So shout out to them. Thank you so much. I wish I could go back in time and tell my younger self that you don't need an iPad Pro and Apple Pencil, you don't need a Cintiq, you don't need Photoshop or Clip Studio Paint or Procreate. You don't need professional equipment to make appealing digital art. I get a lot of surprised comments whenever people see my work in progress screenshots, since it's clearly made on a phone. So I want to share my experience because it's not as impressive or intimidating as it seems. If you're looking to get into digital art but don't have the budget, even for budget drawing tablet options, just know that you probably already have the means to start, and you can get surprisingly far with what you already have. Money aside, a couple more practical reasons I want to mention why this setup works so well for me is because of how compact everything is, the portability, and the ergonomics, which is super important for working long sessions. I live in a dorm, I share a room, and I hardly have personal desk space for myself, so having a PC rig or a big heavy laptop with a big tablet just wouldn't make sense for me anyway right now. I chose the Ugee Q6 tablet because everything is kept on the tablet, so it's less likely for my dumbass to lose the pen or cable. It's easy for me to take around anywhere. Whenever my roommate is around, I can just take my phone, the tablet, and the phone stand and go work in the library or in the study hall or in some communal space. I can work anywhere I want, that's basically what I'm trying to say. I used to use an iPad until I had to sell it for life reasons. It turned me into a shrimp. It gave me neck and shoulder pain, and this is entirely on me. I developed bad posture and bad habits. But now with a graphic tablet, to not have to look down at a screen or prop it up at an angle that's unnatural for my wrist has been amazing. I put my phone up on the phone stand and I use it together with the tablet. It's almost like a desktop setup where my phone acts as the monitor. The nice thing about using a drawing tablet with your phone instead of working directly on your phone screen is that your hand wouldn't block your view of the screen. You get to see the full screen, which you're probably gonna want because phone screens are small enough. All in all, getting this drawing tablet to go with my phone was probably one of the best investments I've made. So if you have nothing but your phone to work with and want to get into digital art without the carpal tunnel, I highly recommend getting one of these. I'll leave links in the description. Not sponsored, but just some affordable options I found. I know it looks very unintuitive to be working on something with your hands and having it show up on a separate screen, but honestly, you get used to that disconnect with a bit of practice. The last time I used a graphics tablet was when I was 13 and getting into digital art for the first time. So since that was my first experience, I'm kind of used to the disconnect. I'm just happy to have found a setup where I can sit straight and look ahead rather than having to hunch over and look down. Working on my phone has also helped me improve my art in unexpected ways. Most importantly, it introduced me to painting. I used to have a drawing first approach where I start with a sketch, then line art, then colors. You can see this process in my videos back from 2024. Drawing ate up so much time, and the smaller screen made fussing over the perfect lines twice as stressful. So I gave up drawing entirely and just started my pieces with coloring straight away. I block in shapes and start sculpting forms from there. I initially tried this approach because I thought it would cut down the time I take to produce a finished illustration. I was wrong. Since painting is a completely different skill with its own learning curve, of course I'm gonna be slow at first because I don't know what I'm doing. I'm so glad I tried it though, because I've come to really enjoy painting more than drawing. For me personally, I used to obsess over clean line art and clean 2D anime style drawings, which actually really limited the way I think when making decisions during the art process and how I observe my references. Painting helped me understand more about 3D forms, planes, how light and shadow hits an object more than drawing ever did. It also taught me the importance of simplifying the subject and grouping my values. I took months to learn this and experiment with my approach. I'm still learning and experimenting now, but just saying, a lot of art fundamentals finally clicked for me when I started learning how to paint. So I thank my phone for this. I've come to love a more unrefined, painterly look to artworks. I feel like when you can see the brushstrokes, you can see the artist's intention. The piece also feels more organic and alive, like it has character. Working on a smaller screen helped me with that. My phone forces me to see the bigger picture and stop caring about details no one will notice or coloring outside the lines. Actually, what lines? Now I feel less rigid when painting, and I'm still working on making my pieces looser. I don't know why, but I had it in my head that when I had a bigger screen, I had to make pixel perfect details. But details really aren't as important as I used to think they were. Readability and cohesion is more important because too many details can actually confuse the viewer where to look. Realizing this has actually helped me improve my composition skills. I used to think composition was just where I'm placing my elements of the painting, but now I realize it's also about the contrast and grouping of values, my color palettes and harmonies, and visual hierarchy. If it reads at a small size, it will probably read at a big size. Now I understand why pros do thumbnail sketches. And it's really all thanks to my phone, because having to adapt to a smaller screen kind of forced me to learn all of this. I also forgot to mention this earlier, but I use the free version of XPPen X. It's available for Android and iOS. Their tutorial videos also show artwork being made on a phone. Lots of phone artists use this app, actually. It's really good. Even the free version, if you can look past the ads, has tons of useful features, from the reference window to built-in time-lapse for every new canvas that you start. That's what you're seeing right now, my painting process of guts.
For all my glazing, this phone setup still isn't perfect. The small screen can really strain your eyes after long sessions. You're supposed to take breaks, but I personally found that advice hard to follow when I'm in the flow of things. I can't bring myself to stop working when I know I won't be able to get back into this headspace after a break. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is, making digital art on your phone is really not as crazy as it sounds. The fundamental principles when it comes to making art doesn't change. Your phone is just another tool, and it's definitely a viable one. Anyway, yeah, I just wanted to yap about my experience. Bye-bye.